What dumb mistake did you make on your first day that everyone still remembers? Fresh out of basic training, assigned to the 82nd Airborne. Thought I was hot stuff because I'd scored high on everything. Top marksman, perfect PT score, honor graduate. First day at my new unit, Sergeant Williams tells me to go get a box of grid squares from supply. I'm thinking this is some specialized equipment I haven't learned about yet, maybe GPS coordinates or mapping tools. March straight to the supply sergeant, chest out, confident as hell. Sergeant, I need a box of grid squares for my squad. Supply, sergeant looks at me funny. A box of what now? Grid squares, sergeant. My squad leader sent me to get them. He disappears into the back room. I'm standing there proud, thinking I'm being helpful. Other soldiers start gathering around, whispering to each other. 20 minutes later, supply sergeant comes back with this serious expression. Hands me an empty cardboard box with grid squares written on it in big black letters. Here you go, private. Fresh shipment just came in. Handle with care. I thanked him, grabbed the box, and marched back to my squad. Feeling accomplished, mission complete. Walked into the squad bay carrying this empty box like it contained the crown jewels. Set it down on Williams's desk with a satisfying thud. Got those grid squares you requested, sergeant? The entire squad erupted in laughter. Guys falling off their bunks. Williams opens the box, peers inside dramatically. Outstanding work, private. These are some of the finest grid squares I've ever seen. Look at the precision on these corners. That's when it hit me. Grid squares don't exist. They're just lines on a map. You can't box them up and carry them around. But it gets worse. Williams wasn't done with me yet. Since you're so good at supply runs, go get me 50 feet of flight line and a bucket of prop wash. I almost fell for it again. Almost. Caught myself at the last second when I saw everyone watching me with anticipation. Very funny, sergeant. Oh, so now you're too smart for legitimate supply requests? How about some Chemlite batteries then? This went on for an hour. Blinker fluid for the vehicles, a left-handed screwdriver, frequency grease for the radios, each request more ridiculous than the last. The story spread through the entire battalion by dinner. Guys from other companies were coming up to me asking if I had any extra grid squares they could borrow. For the next 2 years, every new private that showed up got sent to find me. Go ask Marcus about the grid squares. He's the expert. Made it worse when we deployed to Afghanistan. Map reading became my unofficial specialty because of the joke. Squad leaders would always say, let Marcus handle the grid squares. He knows where to find the good ones. Even officers got in on it. During briefings, they'd ask if I'd brought enough grid squares for the mission. Had to explain the story to every new lieutenant. The chaplain heard about it and used my mistake in a sermon about pride going before the fall. Standing there in the front row while he told the whole base about my first day failure. My mom sent me a care package once with a hand-drawn map of our hometown. She'd colored in all the grid squares and wrote, don't lose these ones on the back. Made sergeant 5 years later. First thing I did was send every new private to supply for grid squares. Tradition had to continue. 20-year career, 2 deployments, Bronze Star, several commendations. But ask anyone who served with me what they remember most, and they'll tell you about the grid squares. Retirement ceremony in 2018, they gave me a shadow box with all my awards. At the bottom, a small cardboard box labeled emergency grid squares, break glass in case of navigation emergency. Still have it on my mantle. Reminds me that no matter how smart you think you are, the Army will humble you in the most ridiculous ways possible. Best lesson I learned though, when you make a legendary mistake, own it. Don't try to live it down. Make it part of your story.